Okay. Oh man. Hello, class. Good morning, class. How y'all doing? Hello. Hello, class. Nobody said anything. Okay. All right. Well, I'll get started since nobody's saying anything. All right. So, let's go. All right, class. What you need to do is put your name in the chat so I can have you recorded as being in attendance for today. Okay, so now on what's this? Okay, I got 4 So let's know they hand, man. And this one. All right. So now we went over structures on last class period. Now this is what I want you to do. Okay, we went over it, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to take it, let's say, step by step. And we created a structure, so you should have seen the syntax on how to create the structure. What I want you to do, write a simple program, right, that have 4 elements, all right, a string, without say a string, uh, int, and two doubles, right? A string, 2 ints, and 2 doubles. All right, that's 5. And I want you to see in values into those elements of the structure, and then print out the values that were stored in the elements of those of that structure. All right, simple program. And I'm like writing a program that says, okay, like writing a program that says CN name, CN year, CN age, CN amount, CN cost, all right, and then C out name, C out year, C out age, C out amount, C out cost, all right. But what you're doing, you're creating a structure and then inputting the values into those structured variables. So write that code right quick. And I'm trying something new to see if we can, how would I say it, in small parts, do samples while I'm lecturing. Then when you have your program, you're more comfortable in knowing somewhat of what it is you have to do and don't make a lot of those simple mistakes. But we're not going to take a lot of time. I want you to write it and print it out. All right. So I'm gonna give you about 5 minutes. All right. If you got questions, ask me whatever. But you got 5 minutes. So like at about 10:09, I'm gonna ask everybody if they got it right or whatever. Small program. You should know the format of the structure. The format of the structure, we went over that. This is somewhat it. Struct, the name of that structure, which would be your abstract data type, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members. And then what? They enclose in open curly brace, close curly brace, semicolon. You do not give values here. You never initialize a member of a structure. So this is in employee. I told you a string, a int, a double, and a double. All right. So like I say, and then once you do that, then then you're gonna have to create what? A variable. So whatever your structure name is, all right, the name of your structure, you're gonna have to take that data type and assign it to a variable. And then you're able to reference each element in the structure by using the what? That dot operator. You got me? So you would use that dot operator. So here it would be like something like CN, the stream, whatever name of your structure, dot the name of the element, semicolon. Right. So go ahead on and write that right quick and see what you get. I'm actually gonna pull up this without I'm seeing it. What did I share? Let's see. Okay.
They teach not elementary. Do you do grade and teaching?
Mm-mm.
They didn't have any symptoms, they didn't get tested. So they may have been asymptomatic and had the virus, but they don't even know how many people in that category.
Anybody have it? Hello?
Almost. Still
All right.
finishing the actual
All right.
structure.
Get a little more time. Okay.
It was string, 2 ints, and 2 what?
Two ints and two floats or double.
Okay.
Right. And I'm looking at. Okay. Got it? Oh, somebody else.
And we get a flu shot every year, and we get flu every year. You know, and that's the most concerning thing to me. How
Anybody got it?
I think I'm getting it.
All right. Give you a little more time. But like I say, got to roll. I'm typing it up too. I'm just go ahead on and type. I was going to show you the program in the book, but it looked a little, I wouldn't say confusing, but it's kind of congested with all the comments in it. So I'm just trying to give it to you like we're playing, just code so you can just see the code. And it's written, but I'm just I'm doing the output right now. You're gonna have to understand it to do the programs. Otherwise, I'm giving programs and people just turning in anything for a little bit of points. But man, like I say, you're not learning the material. All right. Okay, class. So, let me switch this screen. No share. All right. So now look at this code here. All right. Number one, we doing input output. Okay, that's our IO string. Number two, we got what? A string, I told you, variable that we're going to use. So what? We have to load the string library. Okay? We know we have to load our standard library with using namespace std. All right? Now, so the structure I created was called SAMP, S-A-M-P, all right? You can call it anything you want. Normally, just like creating a variable, you want your structure to be somewhat related to what it is you're doing. But I'm creating just a sample one for you in class. So the structure is called SAMP.
Should the structure always be a global kind of the way you said it, or can it be in the main?
If I if it's in the main, how would I say it? I think you can pass structures. You understand? I think so. I've never done it, but let me cut it and paste it in here. So what happens is then it's just local to this, and you'd have to pass structures. And I never pass structures, and I always want you to pass your variable. Let's see something. No, yeah. So see what happened. Now what happens? Now SAP cannot be used throughout the program. You got me?
Right.
And
Okay.
right. Now I should be able to, well, still, this is my data type. My data type, and see, that might be the issue too, because my data type is described where? Within that function. You understand what I'm saying? So I've never got that deep into working with it locally, but apparently it can work. You got me, and then you'd have to pass that entire structure and whatnot, right? Which would make your program much more tighter, right? Where your
Right.
data is not just out there and you can just use it whenever or make changes whenever. Okay? All right. So now I'll leave it like that for now because you asked that question. Now, what happens is I have struct SAMP, and within SAMP, I have an element of string called name, an element of int called age, an element of int called year, an element of float named cost, an element of float named amount. And notice you do not give values here. In a structure, you cannot give values because you just creating a data type. So my data type is SAMP, and I've just created a variable called what? My data. All right. My data have the data type of what? SAMP. Not int, not float, not char, but SAMP. SAMP is the abstract data type. Everybody understand that? Okay. Because I could create another one. I could create my data. I could comma your data, comma whatever. You know, each one of them would be a variable, like I would say int x, comma y, comma z. Each variable would take on what? The elements of that structure, okay? Of that abstract data type. So now, I told you to read in the data. In order to read in the data, which is this here, you have to reference, you do it the same way you do a regular variable, but you must identify it by using the what? The dot operator. This is my variable, my data. This is the data type. So what? For this data type, name is a valid element. So my variable, my data dot name. This is the CN, 5 of them. My data dot age, my data dot year, my data dot cost, my data dot amount. So all those are being inputted like you just would. If I didn't have struct here and I just had string name, string age, int year, float cost, float amount, then you would not need my data here. You would just do CN name, CN age, CN year, CN cost, CN amount. Everybody understand that? All right. Now, also to output the data, and what I'll do, I'll just break this down so you can somewhat see them all in the same way. All right. So, because what I did, all right. Okay. And so you can somewhat see it without being confused. Okay. All right. So now what happened? My see out statement, I'm see out in the new line and I'm tabbing over. Then I'm outputting name, but I cannot just use name. Name is a part of this what? Structure. So name, my data is the variable that we created here. So my data dot name. All right, see out in mine data dot age, see out in mine data dot year, see out mine data dot cost, see out mine data dot amount. So if I run it, now I have this in here, but it should run. All right, when I run it, okay, enter the name. Okay, so I'll just enter David, enter age, that's not my age, enter year of graduation.
Input right now.
Right, I'm in doing the input, correct.
No, we can't see it.
Oh, I'm so. Oh, okay. So what I'm gonna do that the share that I normally do. I had it on that specific screen. Where is it? I don't want to do that. I want here. All right, you can see it now.
Yes, sir.
All right. So look, enter name. I entered my name. Enter year. I'm gonna enter your age. Enter the age. Enter your graduation year. Enter the year. All right. Click back in here. All right, hit enter. All right, enter cost, I'll say 201, whatever. Enter amount, 23, okay. So, all right, so I entered those amounts in, all right? So now when I hit enter, now this is my output, all right? It output name, mynData.name, output mynData.age, mynData.year, mynData. Cost and mynData. Amount. Okay? Now, did everybody see what happened here? Everybody see how this was done?
Yes, sir.
So I want you to get it right. Going on, and it shouldn't take you about 3-4 minutes if you had to type it. Get it right. Because you got to get the feeling of accomplishing something. Because when I give these programs and you don't have an inkling as to what and how, it just makes it that hard. Now I'm gonna say this, and hold on. I want to say this, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea. But at the same time, I want you to learn, not just be in a survival mode as to I just got to get it. However I get it, I get it. I've looked at, and if you notice, I didn't grade the string program. What I did was I opened up the string program. I saw the first assignment. I'm like, well, we didn't use this function. We didn't use this, and we didn't use that. It doesn't even have string cat. It's not even using string length. It's not. So I'm like, what's going on? Open up several others. Well, we never used this function. We never, and it's all new functions, all new whatever. Some using pointers, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm realizing that you're probably reaching out to people to say, look, this is my program. This is what we need to do. Could you write it for me? Whatever, I'll turn it in. But I'm telling you, in computer science, you have to learn how to write this code. You're going to graduate, get a job, and you're going to be stuck. You're going to have to go get that book and go dive into it and try to learn it, when you could be learning it now. Now, I'm not saying not to get assistance, but I'm like, when you just getting somebody just to write code and write it whatever, however, it running, and it does run. Don't get me wrong, the program does run, but it's not in the fashion that I asked you. I had 2 people, and I just gave them bonus points for it. And I just looked through the program. They wrote the program, and they used the string cat, string copy, and whatever to build the final result for their output. And I said, well, at least they followed my instructions, and I give them 10 points. What I'm gonna do after class, I'm gonna reopen that assignment, and I want you to use those functions so that you can understand how to. Now, some of those other functions are, how would I say it? They do allow for quicker and easier functionality with the software, but at the same time, I want you to get in the habit of knowing how to write some code yourself, because there's gonna come a time when you're gonna have to sit down and write code to accomplish something. And if you always just looking for some function that will do something, then you're really not a programmer. You're just like a plug and play kind of person. Oh well, I need to do something to get this to print in reverse. There should then, like say some people use that function. There should be a function to do that. Yes, in some applications there are, but then when you get to another application, there might not be. And then all of a sudden you like, oh well, I really don't know how. And now you're trying to reach out to others, and people looking at you like, but you're a programmer, and you cannot think through taking something and manipulating it to do something in reverse order. And that's the thing I'm getting at. You know, you got to be able to write your own modules for functions. But if you just say grabbing something from somebody else all the time, you know, you're not really coding in a sense. But hopefully when I open it, you go back and you write the code and write it using those functions that I gave you to use. All right. Anybody got the program? Got it running? Got the program running?
Can you show on the name one the get line use with it?
Remember we used the getline.cn. I mean getline and then parentheses cn and the size with a character with a char array. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
With char array. So like so if I do something like this, 4, and I'll say 20. All right. Then and then you all right. So let's see. Is it get line? .cn. Oh, my fault. I think that's what. That's it. Is it get line? .cn. Get line. Oh, is it this? Is it get line? Oh. Yeah, is it good? Let's see. Wait a minute. It's here. We go here. Let's see what I use. But I want the full name, not the part of the name. But I did the string. Oh, yeah, here it's seeing a get line. My fault. And what happens, it grabs everything up until the size of it. And what that does allow for spaces. So when I do this, when I run it, and then it's not printed out though. When I do this, what I do? I do the debug. I did something wrong. Okay, let's see something. All right, so now I do something like John Doe. It's going to read all of it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if I would have just did the CN, it would have just read John, and then it to put Doe in the next one, and it to continued on, right?
So it can only be used with character arrays. It can't be used with a string.
Right, right. Now with the string, there is the string you use is the opposite way, but you don't put a size in it. Cause remember, but with those functions that we went over, you can only use those functions with char, with the char arrays.
Right.
Right, right, right. But you can read a string that has spaces in it also. And I think that's the get line. So if I do string.
I meant like use it with the structured data. How do you
That what you talking about? Yeah. But like I said, I could take this and put this in here. Yeah, I could put this in here.
But I meant like, can you use the string name? Can you use that so it's a get line function? It uses the get line to actually get the person's first name. So it's
right, because you can, because you do it the same way. Because what happens is, so let me take this one. Well, I can just take this out. Yes, you can, because what happens is it's acting just like the regular data. So you do what it was, get line. And then CN and what it is, name. I think that's, oh no, not name. It would be my data. Dot name, I think. All right, see what I'm saying? So okay. I take this out, but all it's doing is now it's going to allow me to read in what? Spaces.
The full, right.
Right, up until I hit what? The enter key. See, all the variables work the same. It's just that you're going to have to what? Put that my data in front of it. Right. So now, before I only could put what? A single name up, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm able to put in a name like say John Doe. Oh, what done happened here? Say no here. Should have read. Let's see. Sometimes you get these links or get these link errors. See, I got this link error. When you're dealing with structures, you're dealing with functions. If you still have this window with the program already executing and you try to execute it again, it cannot reopen the screen because it's linked to that screen. So that's normally sometimes why you get that error. So you got to watch it. And see, when I run it this time, you see it's going to run. So now I could put John Doe, you see what I'm saying? And it goes to age. But if I tried to put John Doe the other time, it read the John and put the Doe, tried to put Doe in age, right? And then I could put whatever and see, and that prints, right? Then I got a name with a space in it. All right, so it's the same. You know, the coding is the same. It's just that, and the rules are the same. It's just that you have to what use the dot operator so that the variable and the element can be a reference. All right. Okay, so everybody should have this because what's going to happen now? The next one, we're going to go back to the notes, and now we're going to create a variable that is, now what this says. Now I'm creating a variable that's a what? Right here. This is my data, abstract data type, SAMP. This is my variable, huh?
You're creating an array?
Correct. Of what data type?
Of the structure, of the
SAMP.
5 elements of the structure.
Right. So I'm going to have one string name, string A, sub-0, name, age, year, cost, amount, sub-1, name, age, you got what I'm saying? So now I've created a variable that has 20 elements. All right. So say I'll reduce it, I'll make it 5. All right, I'll make it 5. And I'll change this back to cn.getLine, so we'll just read one. We'll just read one at a time. All right, without spaces, cn.getLine. And we'll do it like this. Now, but what happens is now, each time we reference it, when I read in, I have, like if I do a for int x equals 0, if I can type, x less than 5, x plus plus. So all of a sudden now, every time I reference my variables, my variable name with the elements, now I need to do what? I need to associate them with what? A subscript, correct?
Yes.
So now what happens is my data sub x name. So my data sub 0 name. My data sub x age. You got what I'm saying? I'm not 0. So like I say, if you understood arrays before, the only thing now is you got the variable name along with the elements. So see how it can get more and more confusing. All right, I need to fix this. Comma 20, I think. No? Yeah, no. What it was? See, I get I'm gonna go back and check it. I forgot how I had on that. So this sub x, because this is all within the loop, and sub x. So now also, when I output variables, I need to what? Output the what? Array the array element, all right, the array subscript on this. I cannot just print my data sub whatever. So let me go back here though. Is this cn, I get line, my data. That's right. Why? What did I do here? I don't want to. Let me go back to. No, that's right. Let me see something. So this one was this. Oh, it's get line. My fault. Okay. I think it's get line. Okay. CN. Okay. All right. So yeah. So I was just confused back and forth with the way it should go. So it's get line, CN, and then the my name. Now, in this one though, remember I only can input what? One name, right? No, I could put multiple because it's a get line. All right. So now I need to fix this. If I'm reading in 5, now I need to what? Have a loop to output the 5, correct? So now I need to do another loop. I can do a for loop, and I can use the same index if I want. I'll just use y. All right. And now I have to close this off. But now I need to, each time I print, I'm printing sub X, right? I mean sub Y. So I'm gonna copy this and then change it. All right, let's change that to Y. All right. All right. So now it's gonna do this loop 5 times and print it. So what I'll do, let's go to the text file and create one. We got a name, we got a okay, let's put an age in here or something. Fucking time. Okay. Because it has to match what we're doing, right? All right. So now I got a name, age, year. Well, hey, year. Okay, age, year, amount, and let's put a cost and amount. Let's put something in here, just whatever we want to put. Come on, get out of that. And all this doing is trying to match our output file with with what we're reading in. Oh, but I'm gonna have to change something else too. All right, so now we got 10, but we only gonna read 5, which it doesn't matter because it's gonna stop at 5. But now let's go back to this. If I'm gonna read from a file, I need to do what? All of a sudden now I need to do what? Pound include, F stream, right? Create my object. I could say IF stream, whatever in data. And then in here I could say, oh no. In here I could say, this is what my man. So I could say in data dot open, and then now what? Text.txt. Okay, so now that's our text file. So now I can't use what? CN, right? Right? I have to use what? I have to use that in data, right?
Right.
Let me see it in data. I've never used it on that, so see. Yeah, okay. And then here I have to use what? In data. Have to use it in data. Okay. In data. And in data. Rather than me typing it. All right. So now, but everybody understood what happened. I created a text file, and now I'm using a file object called in data. Here's my abstract data type called SAMP. My data is the variable, and it's a 5-element array. And then anytime I reference the data, I have to use the dot operator for the elements in the structure, but the structure itself, each not element, but each record, you have to do use the subscript. All right, you have to have a subscript. So let's debug it. We run it, and we should get our output. Oh, well, wait a minute, what's going on? Okay, that worked. I know that worked, but what about this output? The first one printed. That's right. Then it went to 0. Oh, is that right? Where am I here? I'll do this. cn.ignore. Okay. I think what happened once it went back from int to character, from from numeric to character data, it caused the issue.
You copied the null.
Huh?
You copied the null terminator and just kind of
Right, and it messed up everything else afterward. Right, and we'll see. Right. Wait, what happened? Oh no, in our amount. What happened?
It still has you inputting the original data instead of copying from just a text file.
No, but not here. I'm doing it should print this, but not here. Oh, I see what you're saying. Wait, let's see. What is it? But no, I don't want to read from and the CN.ignore. That should clear the buffer. No, but what you're saying is read from the what?
Isn't it reading it from the data file? So it's
Correct.
still looking for an input, though, I think.
But it's supposed to, because it's getting this one from the data file, right?
Mm-hmm.
Getting this one from the data file, getting this from the data file, this from the data file, get this from the data file. But then now I'm trying to clear the buffer here.
Right.
And then it should go back to the next record. Let me see. Okay. Let's see. So let me see. I'll do CN.ignore. But that's I see. And see the CN.ignore, what it's doing, it pausing. When I hit, pause and hit. So that's all it's doing. And it's just making it pause. But why is it pulling up 0 here? So let's see.
Oh, wait. Go back to your text file real quick.
Okay. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's because you don't actually have a value in that last spot, I think. I think it's misinterpreting that.
No, but see, remember, we're only reading 5, though, remember?
No, but because it's 28.2 and it's not 28.2 something, I think it's misinterpreting that as a 0, and that's what's causing the error.
Right here?
Yeah, I think if you just add a number there, it'll fix it.
I doubt it. Like a 0?
Yeah.
Because a fraction is a fraction.
Right.
We'll check it, but I don't think so. See, let's see. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because whether it's 2.0 or 2.02, 0.2,
right.
Yeah, it's still that fraction. But let's see what's happening. Let's see. amount. So it's stopping over there. Let me go here. So it's not the buffer. Let me change this to, but this gonna give me an error because, well, it didn't give me an error, but I don't want to do that. See, it's still doing it, but why for the next record? Let me see. Oh no. X is 0, X is less than 5, X plus plus. I'm picking up that one, picking up that one, picking up that one, picking up that one, picking up that one. Okay.
Wait, shouldn't it be X less than 6 to actually get all of them, though?
Yeah, it should be less than 10 to get all of them. But I just did 5. Remember, I had that data table already there. Remember?
No, but I mean, because you're using 5 in my data, the actual total size it's using is 6. So
No.
shouldn't you use 6 with the X?
Because it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Right.
Sorry,
You start at 0. Yeah, you start at 0. And something, and like I say, this could be commented out, but it's still not reading the data right. Okay, for y is equal to 0, is outputting the first one correctly. But I don't think it's reading in the first. Let's see, let's do this. See out. All I'm doing, I'm trying to see what's being read in when it's at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In a name. So it's reading in.
Is it because you're using the get line still? It's trying to get everything from that data point?
Oh, yeah, class. That's what's happening. Right. Yep. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. So the line looking like at the entire line.
Right.
Yeah. Bam. Wow. Yep, that was the error. So now we should run. Because what? It's going to read just up until the end of that name. Well, let's see. I need to take this off here. So it's going to read that name, put it in. Now I need to take this out. Okay. I could comment this off. Right. // Yep, that's what the problem was, though. It reading the entire line. Yep. And what happened? It ran out. So let's run it. So we won't see what it does when it runs. Okay, it's gonna run, then it's gonna give us the output. Oh.
I think you still use a comma there though, instead of an actual input indicator. I don't know if that makes a difference, but
Right here. Oh, yes. But that's on just this one. See, and right. And get it. All right. Okay. Yeah, because it didn't really get the first one. That's why. Okay, now it should. There we go.
there we go.
So see the first one, second one, third one, element, but that's the first record, Sub-Zero. The second record, Sub-Zero. Let's look at it. Let's go back to
Text.
Yeah. So now look at this. The first record, I just printed it straight down, but days 12, 1192, 182, whatever, 28, 2. All right. Then Tim. So that's as each one of the 5 records. All right. So it read them in, and then it actually put them into the structured variable array, and then outputted those 5 elements. All right.
Right.
So see how the coding part of it, you're just adding more and more, how would I say, syntax to what you already know. And it can get very cumbersome, and the comma and the semicolon, parentheses, or whatever, the dot and all this, it can get very cumbersome. So this example here just shows how you can create the structure, create a variable of an array variable on that structure, read in the data from a file. All right, we did it from 1 to 5, 0 to 5, or 0 less than 5. Read in the 5 records into the arrayed variable, and then we just outputted the arrayed variable. All right, because we should kind of be comfortable with what arrays right now, right?
Right.
So let's go to the notes. Okay, we did all that. And what I would do if I was you, I would take that program that you was working on, get it working, and then go through those steps that we just went through to kind of give you an inkling of what mistakes you might make in writing the code and dealing with arrays. Because you're gonna have to deal with arrays when you do your program. All right. So let's see where. Okay, we got to go back to the other chapter here. All right. So in this chapter, we stopped on the part where we started talking about arrays. All right. Okay. We talked about you can't initialize. All right. Arrays. All right. So we talked about this. All this is illegal. When you create a structure, never assign those elements. Never assign them. You're going to get errors. So arrays of structures. Okay. And we looked at the example already. As we were seeing in chapter 7, and we used chapter 7 when we did arrays, data can be stored in 2 or more arrays with a relationship established between the arrays through their subscript. Because structures can hold several items, all right, of varying data types, a single array of structure can be used in place of of several arrays, all right, of regular variables, all right? So look what happens here. We have a structure where we have a char variable called title. Title is an array, right, of what? 15 char variables. Author is an element in this structure, which is an array of 30 char values. Publisher is a char array of 25 char variables, elements. And then you have a double, a price of double, which is just a variable element. Now, so book info is the name of the structure. But look what they did down here. They created the structure, and then book info, all right, which is the name of the structure, our abstract data type, we created a variable called book list with how many elements? 20 elements. So what happens? We have 20 titles of 50, 20 authors of 30, 20 publishers of 25, and 20 prices. Everybody understand that? Basically what we had here, we had 5 names, all right? 5 ages, 5 years, 5 costs, 5 amounts. Because what? We didn't have an array size on our string, all right? We didn't have because a string is just up until, the end of that string. But if this was char, it could have been char and say 45, where name would have 45 characters, but then we would have 5 names of 45, right? Characters. Okay? So that's what this example is showing. So now it says the statement, let me make this a little bit better. All right, there we go. So it tells us the statement book info, book list 20, defines an array called book list that has 20 elements. All right, so it's an array of 20 elements. Each element of book info structure, all right, which would be what? You got each one. The first element of book list has a title, an author, a publisher, a price. The second one, which would be sub 1, would have a title, an author, a publisher, a price. So each one would have their will have all of those elements in it. All right. Each element of the array may be accessed through a subscript. For example, book list sub 0 is the first structure in the array. All right. Book list of 1 is the second, and so on and so forth. Book list of 2 would be the third, and whatever. So to access a member, all right, of any element, simply place the dot operator, in which we talked about, all right, your dot operator, all right, and the member name after the subscript, all right? And remember, when you have char data, you could just print out title, and it's going to print what? The entire title. You don't have to give the size or the array size or whatever, but you can print a particular character in that title if you wanted to. So looking at this expression refers to the title member, all right, of book list sub 5, all right? So the 6th element, which is sub 5, the title, we're going to print out all, if you got see out here, we'll print out that title of the 5th element of book list. All right. Now, so looking at this is basically the same thing we had in the program we just was working on. To display the data stored in each element of the array structure, you could use a loop for int, index equals 0, index less than 20, and we just did to 5, right? We did index from 0 to 5. So see out book list sub index, where index is 0, 0, index of 0 title, index of 0 dot author, index of 0 dot publisher, index of 0 dot price. Then it goes through the second time. Same thing as we did. Index of 0.1, book list of one dot author, book list of one dot publisher, book list of one dot price. Goes through, then be two, book list of two dot title, and on and on and on. So because the members, title, author, and publisher are also arrays within themselves, their individual elements may be accessed as well. So what you're saying, if I had a char array within a structure, I could print any element of that char array that I want to print. I could print the first element of that char array of subs and of that book list array. Give an example. Look at this. See out book list sub 10. So that means we're going to the 11th element, all right? And then on title, we're going to print out the first character. So what? And let's look at this. Let's see if we go, let's close this. All right. So I know it's not char, it's a string, but watch, where is it? Okay, so when we here, I could print name sub-0, all right? So what I'm doing here, rather than me printing my data sub y, and the first one 0, then 1, then 2, name, I'm printing my data, okay, sub name, dot name, the first element. And each time through, when y is 1, when y is 0, it's gonna print the first element of name. When y is 1, it's gonna print the first element of name. When y is 2, it's gonna print the first element of name. So looking at this table, or file, what will be printed out? Outputs. Well, for the 5 outputs for name, what will be printed out? It should print out D, because what? That's 0 or 1, 2. All right, gonna print out D, it's gonna print out T, it's gonna print out R, it's gonna print out B, and it's gonna print out A. Because I said print out name sub 0. So it's a string, which is an array, but I want to only print the first character. All right. So if I run this program, I should just get those individual characters. All right. And I can do that. Oh, well, wait a minute. What happened here? Say no. Expected what? Oh, no, that's right. Oh, semicolon. Take my semicolon off. All right. So here, let's debug it again. Bam. So see, look, D, T, R, B, and A. Because I told it to just print what? Name sub 0. So that's just going to print that first element. So I could print any element that I want of that array. All right. Because it's an array by itself. And then what? My data is an array also. All right. So that's what the notes is trying to tell us. All right, that you can print an individual element. So it's like it says book list sub 2 dot publisher sub 3 is equal to T. So we just assigned in the second element of book list dot publisher, the third element in publisher, all right, a letter T. So that's all it's saying. This statement stores the character T in the fourth element of publisher, which is here, all right, of the publisher member of the publisher member of book list sub 2, which would be the third element here. All right. So that's what it's saying. It can be confusing, but you got to be able to understand it. So let's look at this. We don't somewhat hopefully understand our structure here. So here we got We loading our IO man IP, I'm loading our stream, our standard library, and then here's our structure. Our structure has a int and a double, hours and pay rate. So what happens is inside of the main, what they did, they have a constant value of num workers, and they set that to 3. So if we look in here, pay info, all of a sudden, this is our structure, pay info, abstract data type, pay info workers, and then in square brackets, num workers. This statement create a variable called workers of the data type pay info with as an array of 3 elements. Okay? Everybody got that? So we have a variable called workers. What's its data type? Pay info. Pay info has what? Hours and pay rate in it. But then workers is an array of 3 elements. Okay? So what they did inner hours worked. But what? Now they created a loop. So to input those hours worked. So now what? For well, it's right here. For index equals 0, index less than 3, which is the hours work, index plus plus. What they're doing, they're counting hours worked by employee number and index plus 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. And so now they're inputting hours sub 0 dot, not hours, workers sub 0 dot hours. Put that in. Then they're going to input the hourly rate, and then it's going to be workers sub 0 dot pay rate. Okay? And then it goes back through, and it's going to input workers sub 1 dot hours, and then get down here, input workers sub 1 dot pay rate. And then the next one will be workers sub 2 dot hours, and then input workers sub 2 dot pay rate. And then it reaches 3 and it kicks out. All right. Then it's going to display the output. Now, what they did here is they using the values that they done retrieved as they went through the loop, and they have them in an expression. And now what's happening? If I'm referencing those variables and I'm using them in the expression, I still have to represent it with the variable name, the index, and the element. All right. So if you look here for index equals 0, index less than num workers, which is 3, index plus plus, they introduced a new variable called gross. All right. Gross is equal to gross is equal to workers sub the first time through 0 dot hours. So it's going to grab that first hours in workers, all right, time workers sub 0 dot pay rate. So we're going to multiply those two and store it in gross, and then they output in the gross. Then they're incrementing to 1. All right, they're incrementing it to 1, and then what's happening? They're multiplying workers sub index dot hours, which is the 1, times workers sub index, which is 1 dot pay rate, and then they're storing that into the gross, and then they outputting the gross, and then the third time through the same thing, workers sub 2, all right, dot hours time workers sub 2 dot pay rate, all right, and it's stored in the gross, and they print out the gross. All right. So see what they didn't create a variable inside the structure for the gross pay, but they calculating it each time they go through the loop and print it out. And that could be considered a way to kind of like reduce your resources, because what? As many variables as I create, that's as many variables that the system in the operating system has to keep track of, keep in the stack and whatnot, which can cause you to increase your the amount of memory needed to execute that program, and which can kind of slow it down. And it doesn't have any effect on our small programs. But as you start working with companies and writing larger programs, you still want to kind of reduce the size or runtime and even the size of your program, right? Because every time you create a variable of pay info, it would have hours, pay rate, and gross if gross was in there. So it's just hours and pay rate, and then you can calculate it, print it, and finish with it. All right? Anybody with any questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. You say that for the program 8, for the read input file function, that it only takes hours and hours worked and pay rate. So I just generated the worker ID outside of the function.
No, yeah, I think that was my mistake.
Okay.
Because I think
I got really confused about that.
Right. Let me go to the thing. All right. Right. Let me go to, I might need to go back to the all right. So here we go. So now what you were saying now? Cause see, look at your structure.
Yeah.
Right?
But it
Yeah,
for the function that's supposed to read the file.
Okay, good.
Should pass hours worked and pay rate. But we also need an ID for the workers, right?
Right. So you need to pass the ID. Right. Because see, this is not,
we'll figure that out. Yeah.
Right. This is not done until it's calculated, right?
Right.
So yeah, you don't really need to, tell it's calculated. Right. So yeah, you would have to pass the name or the ID, right. Okay. And this one should pass hours worked, right? Because you're not dealing with the name, hours worked, pay rate, and calculate the pay, right? Okay. And then now, once you calculated the pay, and then when you do the sort, with the sort, you're sorting on the, let's see what you're sorting, by the ID. So really, on that one, all you need to pass is the ID, right? Because that's the only one you sort. Well, no, you have to pass all of them here. Because if you swap one, what happens? You got to swap everything else, right?
Right.
So you need to pass the ID and all of the variables, right? Passing all variables, right? Then in the last one, you're still passing all variables so that you can whatever. Yeah. So, but like you say, you're right. In this one, you would have to pass the name. How do I say pass the name? Right, because you have to get all of it. Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's a mistake on my. The second part, I'm going to eliminate the second one. We're not going to do the second program, all right? So we're not going to do the second program. We'll do this program, all right? And then two, with this formula, like I said, with this formula, it's not a standard overtime formula. What it is, in a sense, that this telling you pretty much if a person worked 50 hours, what's going to happen? They're going to take the 50, subtract 40 from it, and you get 10. It's going to divide 10 by 5, and you're going to get 2. Then you're going to multiply 2 times the base pay times 0.1, and then add that to the base pay to get your total pay. All right. So that's what's happening now. All right. So you got to remember to add back the base pay, because I don't think I have a column to print out what the actual overtime is. Then you add the whatever plus the overtime to get whatever. But I don't have I didn't put an output sample on this one. All right. Any other questions about the assignment? All right. Any other questions? I need to modify that so that it can reflect that. Any other question?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's see something. All right. So that's what this program does. All right. So now, structures as function arguments. So now the thing is, with structures, pretty much they are what? Data types, right? So look, and I'm gonna come back to it. Look at this function. This say void, show rec, and then rectangle R. This is the definition. Normally you would have something like what? String, char, float, or whatever, and then the variable. But what? Rectangle, looking at this, must be what? Some abstract data type, right? A user-defined variable that's what? Being assigned to R in this particular function. Because look what happened. R dot length, R dot width, R dot area. So rectangle, looking at this, would have what? Length, width, and area as elements within it. All right. So look, and if you look here, see it right here. So let's look at it. So like other variables, the individual members of a structure variable may be used as a function argument. Okay. So what they're saying is you can pass the individual variable or you can pass the entire structure. All right. So here's the structure. All right. Struct rectangle. What's the elements? Length, which is of double, width, which is of double, area, which is of double. All right. Given the following function definition, we got double multiply. So multiply is the name of the function. And we're going to pass X and Y, okay, these variables. No, values are being passed into X and Y, all right? So whatever those values being passed are double values. So now it's going to multiply in this function definition whatever X is time Y, and it's returning it, see, a double value back to that call function, okay? So that's what's happening here. So you pass in an individual value, all right? Now, assuming that box is a variable of a rectangle, all right? Now what that means, all right? When you had rectangle here, you had to do what? Rectangle space box semicolon to create that variable. Everybody got that, right? So when you have a variable of that abstract data type of that structure, you remember you have to use that, like say here, where they had pay info, and then to create this variable called workers, you had to do what? Pay info workers. Now workers is a variable of what data type? Pay info. So all he's saying is here, box was assuming that box is a variable of rectangle. So you would have had to have rectangle space box, and it would have created that variable. All right. So now, so of the rectangle structure type. Now the following function will pass box dot length into X and box dot width into Y, and return the value stored to Y. The return value is stored into box dot area. So look at this. So what we have here, we have box area, box dot area. All right. So we taking the box variable, but the area element in box, and we making it equal to whatever this function returns. So somewhere you ran in or you have a length and a width, right? And this box dot length is going to be passed to this. Where is it? Where is that function? Going to be passed in the X. Box dot width going to be passed in the Y, And once it passed those values into X and Y, it multiplies them. All right. Multiplies them, but it is not storing them into any value, but it's just going to return that value of double, and it's going to be stored into area. Just like we did when we did position equals whatever, not position, my fault. What we did, we had position was being returned, and we returned it into value or whatever, value equal sort, whatever, not sort, search. So whatever our search function returned, it was stored into that variable we had it equaling to. And that's the same thing happening here. Whatever this function returns, it will be assigned into box.area. All right. So that's all that's saying here. So see how it's similar, but the coding is a little different. Could be a little confusing. But if you understand, I'm referencing length in box. I'm representing, and wait a minute. Class, look at this. This is an error, and that I need to fix. Because that shouldn't be a comma, that should be a what? A period, right? That should be box.width. All right, so that's my mistake. I need to fix that in my notes. All right. Okay. So now it says sometimes, okay, it's more convenient to pass the entire structure. You know how we pass the entire array? Like when we pass an array, we pass what? Everything, right? We don't have to pass each element in the array. Same thing goes for a structure. Rather than try to what? Pass like we did, pass the length, pass the width, pass the area. We could just pass rectangle R. So now it's passing that entire structure variable, values of that variable into a variable called R, and then now you can do what you need to do with it. All right. So you don't have to what? Pass each individual element of that structure. So sometimes it's more convenient to pass the entire structure variable into a function instead of individual members, okay, using a structure variable as the parameter. So what? Like right here, we had, when we passed this, we had double X, double Y. But what? Rather than pass the length and width, we're going to pass everything, length, width, and area. And we do that by rectangle. So rectangle, what is rectangle? Okay, got length, width, and area, and we passing it. We passing that structure and we putting it into R. So we use R here as the variable. All right, R dot length, R dot width, R dot area, and what? R, whatever done to R is done to what? To box. Because remember, aura was not a variable that we created, but we created what? A rectangle space box, okay? Which created those, created the variables, all right? And these elements was referenced box.area, box.length, box.width. All right, so it says to pass the box variable into R, okay, would be done as follows, okay? Because now this would be in your main function or that call, all right? Remember, box is the variable, correct? Everybody understand that? Okay, let me show you, because I think some of y'all may get confused. What happens here, we have what? What is our variable here? My data, right? Samp my data 5. So what happens is, here, if I have like void, put data, all right. And now, what's my variable? What I want to pass what? Samp, right? So samp would be my data type, correct? So I'm gonna pass, put data samp. So now, in here, let's say when I print, I'll take this. When I print, I would say put data and what's the variable? My data. All right? Because what? My data is what? That variable of what? Of SAMP. All right? Now, so void put data and SAMP is the data type. All right? My data is the data type of SAMP. All right? And I don't know why it's put data. I got PUT data. All right. Then is this inside the main? Yeah. All right. So what I do here, take this out. I'm gonna cut this. All right. And I'll do void. And now I have to say, and I could do, they use R, I can use T or whatnot. And then here.
Wouldn't it be my data and not SAMP?
Well, here? Yeah, the variable. Yeah, it would be the variable. Yep, yep. Right. And then here would be my information, and I'd have to change everything to T. But something going on with put data. Let's see. Let's see, paste that. So, and this would be, let's do that T. I don't know why. All right, but there's something going on with my data, that's right. But what?
You put
What?
SAMP there instead of my data, I think.
Yeah, because the structure there, yep.
But no,
My data.
it's also
No,
the structure is declared in the main, so it's I don't
it's
think
not seen. Yeah. And see, that's one of the issues. Like I was telling you, where you violate issues where you can't see it
right.
because it's local. All right. So let's see something.
Definition's still in there because it's SAMP my data 5. It's still in the main, not declares global.
Right. Let me kind of separate this stuff here. Okay. Let's see where it's at. Yeah. Yeah, but this should be good though, because no, yeah, you're right. Because it's still local, but it's still but that, yeah, void mind data. Cut that. All right, but still okay. Put that avoid put PUTDATA PUTDATA. I'm still getting an error. Where is this? This is right. Passing my data.
Is it put dot my data or put dot data, or is it just
It's just data, because my data is the what? Where is it? Here. My data. Oh, it's array. Dog it. Where I'm at. You see what I'm saying? It's an array.
Mhm.
Oh man. All right. Oh, and then it didn't give it. Okay. That's right. No, that should have worked. Because see, my data is here. This is T. Put data. T sub whatever. This is an array. Put data, my data, where's my data? Wait, where's my data? Okay, it's up here. Let's see. Why you giving me error here? What it say? Incomplete type is not allowed.
Would you even put my data there yet? Because it's just looking for a data type.
Yeah, but that's the data type. Cause see,
Right.
I created that
Right,
data
because it's a
type.
SAMP. Yeah.
Right. But it said,
So wait, wouldn't it be then put data SAMP there, and then it'd be SAMP my data space T, or comma T at the base? Because
no,
you
you
still
but
need to declare a data type, don't you?
no, but you can't do samp my data twice. You understand? This creates the variable. This is the variable. Yeah, this is the variable. This is just the data structure, the data type.
Right,
Like,
but is it put? But what I'm saying is, isn't put data looking for a data type and not the definition?
where we're at here.
Yeah, because
But this is a data type. I mean, this
I thought this
is
was the definition, not the data type. I thought the data type is SAMP.
no. See, this would be this is the variable. What's the variable? Yeah.
Yeah.
My data is the variable and SAMP. SAMP is the other.
There it is.
Cut that up. But then still, because see, my data here.
So wouldn't it be? But I'm saying at the top. At the top, wouldn't it also just be SAMP?
Right.
Instead of my data.
Right, because my data is a variable.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's what it should be. But still, and it's an array. Whatever that. Yeah, there you go. Right. Okay, and put data. Right, because see here, this is your variable. So right. I mean, you're passing that entire variable, and within here, it knows that it's an array. But here we would use the data type, like int right. whatever, which SAMP is, and down here the same thing, but we telling it what SAMP is being stored past. I mean, not past. Let me go here. My data is being passed into T as an array of SAMP, and right. that should run it. So what happens is, if I debug it here, we should get the same results. And the only thing is, we did it through what? Through passing the entire argument. I mean, the entire right. what? Structure, right? So here we passed the entire structure called SAMP. All right, when we did the pass my data. My data is the variable name, all right? And then here you got SAMP, okay, the T, and T would be the my data array. And then here, my data sub Y, but it's T. Whatever's done to T, gonna be done to what? To my data. If we change a value of something in here, like we say, T sub Y dot name is equal to, say, John, then it would change that name. And then I print it would print that new name. And when I go back here, it would be also changed for my data. All right. So this is how you can pass the entire structure, because what? If you had 10 different structured variables, it might be cumbersome to try to pass each one of them individually, just pass the entire structure. But sometimes you might have one or two, and you might say, well, I'm going to just pass the one or two. I'm not going to worry about passing the entire structure. But I'm saying it's all depending on how you code it. All right?
Right.
So, all right. So now, let's go back to, okay, here. All right. So here is a program, all right? And in this program, they doing basically what we just did. And hopefully in us going through it just now, the mistakes that I made and whatever you were able to see and like kind of learn. Because sometimes learning don't come from just doing everything the correct way. Because you take for granted that, this, that. And sometimes just seeing where, I got to use this rather than this. Let's try this and that. And that's coding. Sometimes, some things you might get 1, 2, 3, whatever. And sometimes it takes time. That's why you got to put in time to do your program. All right. So let's look at this one. All right. This program use an array of structures. All right. So let's see what it actually does. So we have a structure with part number as an int, description is char, on hand as int, and price as double. All right. So once they did that, but look what happened in here. What do we see here, class? What that ampersand mean?
That's passed by reference.
Right. So everybody see that. It's being passed by reference. All right. That's important to know. All right. You're working at a lower level. All right. So what happens? They got the data. All right. So they read the data. So what happened? They write a function to get the data. Then they write a function to print the data. All right. So, and one of them they passing it by reference, and the other one they passing it by the values. All right. So if we look at this, starting the main, here we have inventory item part. So what happens? What's inventory item? Inventory item is the name of this structure, which is that data type, right? So now part is the variable. So when they did get item part, they pass what? The entire structure, but they're gonna pass it as what? By reference. So right. So when they got to the get, notice what they did. Inventory item ampersand P. Now, if they took the ampersand off here and just used the P, it's just like doing it this way. Same difference, but you're doing it in a different way. By reference, it's actually passing it, and it's actually performing the action on that value when it's done. If I change something, it's automatically being changed. All right. So look, it's passing it by reference, and you use the ampersand. So P is the variable that is passing the variable part into. All right. When we get here, though, now you just use everything just like normal, right? P dot whatever, right? And look what they did, CN dot ignore, because it went from a number to character. So that's when you got to know how to use that CN dot ignore. When you go from integer value from the CN to a char, most times you're gonna have to use that CN, especially if you're going back through a loop and going back to integer values, or you're going int, char, int, and then char, int. You're gonna have to put those CN dot ignores in there so it can wipe out that buffer and clear out that null terminator. All right. So it's reading in the part number, P dot part number. All right. It's reading in the description. Well, it's doing the CN dot ignore to clear the buffer. Then it's reading in the description. All right. P dot description. Then what's happening is actually reading in the on hand, P dot on hand, and then it's actually reading in the price, P dot price. All right. So it reads that in. Now this is not an array. And then it goes and it goes back to the main function, and then it calls the show item function. Show item, okay, show item is just defined as being passing inventory item. So it's just passing the structure, by the values, passing the entire structure. So now it passed the entire structure and it's printing out each individual value that was inputted, P dot num. I'm a part num because it passed it in the P. Now, you didn't have to use P here. You could have did inventory item R, and then you'd have to do R dot part number, R dot description, R dot on hand, R dot price. Everybody understand that? But the P was the variable that they used to be represented for the structure variable. And the structure variable is part, all right? That was passed into P, all right? And so it just printed that information, all right? And that's pretty much what we did at the beginning. when we wrote the program, but we just did it by passing the entire structure, but then they passed it by reference, all right, to read the data, all right. Now, we're gonna go over this, but I'm not. Oh, it's that time. Another class. We're gonna just go over this, but I'm not gonna give you a program to do on this. But I want you to know about it. Enumerators are used so that you can actually code program using data that are that's in a list. All right, and enumerator data types are programmer-defined data types consisting of values known as enumerators. All right, which represents integer constants using an enum. All right, keyword, the word the enum keyword. You can create your own data type and specify the values that belong to that type. Such a type known as the enumerated data type. And what happens here, this is an example. This is how you would actually set up an enumerator. Enum, and the data type or the variable is day. And day can equal to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Now, it excluded Saturday and Sunday, so they're not valid in this list. So and I could have recreated this, say enum is equal to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it excluded Saturday. All right, and it automatically knows the number of elements in the list. So the example declaration creates an enumerated data type named day. The identifier Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are known as enumerators. All right, they represent the value that belongs to the day data type. Okay, note that the enumerators are not enclosed in quotation marks. Therefore, they are not strings. Enumerators must be legal C++ identifiers. All right. Now, another thing too is if I put them in different orders, then they will be assigned values based upon the order that they're in. If I did Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday would have the 0, Wednesday would have the 1, Tuesday would have the 2, Thursday have the 3, and so on. So it's based on the order. Once created, a variable can be defined. Work day. So all of a sudden now you have the variable or the data type day that can be assigned to a variable day work, work day, which can be equal to any one of the elements in the list. All right. So that's basically how it works. And then they'll assign integer values. All right. So I'm gonna stop it here, class. The program. Hopefully you got enough information to do your that program. Only do the first program. Don't worry about the second one, which would be these enumerators. But do that program. I'll modify that first part, and they can say. Hopefully you remember that name should be also passed so that you can read it into the array. All right, or into the array of the structure. All right. So anybody with any questions? Any questions? All right. If no questions, like I said, the assignment is open. It should be open till whatever. Oh, and I'm gonna open up that string assignment. Make sure you use the string functions that we have in the notes and stuff. The string cat, string cat, and string copy and whatnot to build your outputted string. All right.
Yes, can we use the reverse iterator?
Man, I don't want you to use it. I want you to manipulate it. Right. Now, let me ask you this. If you have an array, right? You have an array, or not even that. Say you have a string, correct? Say what's your name?
Jacob. So
you have Jacob in a string, correct?
Right.
All right. How could you print Jacob backwards?
Just iterate through the list in reverse.
All right. How would you do that?
Start my iterator at the last number of my name and then count down.
How would you find that?
What do you mean find it?
How would you find the last one?
Oh, just get the string length.
But you understand? That's something that we use in the class. Find the string length, start from the string length going down, right?
Right.
And you print it in reverse. So stuff like that, that's what I want to see you using. Now,
Okay.
just to use the reverse, boom, I use the reverse, right? But then, like I say, some compilers or programs you be a part of might not have that function in it. And it's like, well, I don't know, how do I do it? But if you understand it and if you've done it, then you can say, no matter whether they have a function or not, you can do it, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Right, and that's the only reason, right? Right. All right. All right. So that do my programs, I'm gonna open them back up and so y'all can do that. All right. All right. So y'all have a good one.
You too,
You
sir.
too.
All right. Bye bye.